Today on Vegan Freak Radio, go meet. Your emails and voicemails, all this and more. Podcast number 74 for June 21st, 2007.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hey everybody, this is Bob.
And Jenna.
We're back again for another week of Vegan Freak Radio. Believe it or not, we are here again.
Yep, sorry for our little vacation there. We had a week of travel and then a week of being very busy, so...
Yeah, work is eating me alive. But I just want to say, when we disappear for a couple weeks, we're always coming back.
Yeah.
We get emails from people who are like, are you coming back? So there's usually an uptick.
It usually just means we're busy, so...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to get back into doing them weekly because I think they're sharper that way.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, if we get into a routine, it works out better.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. You just got to be in the right mood to do them.
Of course.
So it's tough to force yourself to do it when you're tired.
It is. And then I think I was more awake earlier, but then we had a thunderstorm and we had to wait because we didn't want to fry our equipment, so...
Yeah. Okay, no one wants to hear our bitching and moaning.
Don't.
Let's move on right into the show. First off, we want to say congratulations to Cosmos Vegan Shop.
Because they actually have a vegan shop now.
They actually have a physical vegan shop, yeah.
Not just a virtual one.
So there you go. You can find more about that on the interwebs. Right?
Because of their site, cosmosveganshop.com.
The internets.
We haven't done that one in a while.
Yeah, they've got for those of you who aren't in Atlanta and can't visit their actual store now, you can still visit their online store, and they got a bunch of cool new stuff, so.
Good.
There you go.
Why are you rolling up your shirt sleeves?
I have no idea.
You busting out the tats? Looking all tough.
I don't know.
Anyway, another thing, a couple quick announcements. First of all, we want to also say thank you to Satya Magazine for running us in their their last issue. So
yeah, sad that it's their last issue, but
it is. Especially, I feel like in the last, I guess, year really. Mm-hmm. I really feel like Satya got a lot more kind of incisive and focused on some of the problems and issues within the animal rights movement. And then, damn, they're shutting down.
I know.
So, but anyway, they put us in the things we like section. So thank you for that. Also, for those of you that might be interested in more of the health aspects that we talked about in show, what was it, 66?
Something like that.
Anyway, the health show way back when. Are you cold?
No.
Oh.
I'm just like stretching.
You're just sitting there all like,
no, I'm not
you're
cold.
all cold. Anyway, for those of you that were interested in the things we talked about during the health show back in show number 66, I believe it was, I did an interview with Dr. Monty, who is the host of a podcast called Fitness Rocks. And I need to thank, I forget who it was, Victoria maybe? One of our listeners who'd recommended to him that we be in touch because it was cool to talk to him. So I did an interview with Dr. Monty, probably about, 45 minutes long or something, about some of the changes that took place in my life around my health and things like that. You can catch that at fitnessrocks.org. So go do that.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have Dr. Monty on our show at some point.
Mid-July. We're going to have him on to talk about some things that have to do with diet and health and things like that. Cool. Because he has a lot. He has read up a lot on that. He does a lot of research on it. And he's a doctor, man.
Yeah.
So there you go. What else? That's all we have in terms of announcements and things, correct? Okay. Also, those of you in the U.S., probably all of North America, maybe only the U.S. actually, maybe you've seen this commercial, maybe you haven't, but I've seen this commercial, and people are talking about it on our forums, and I thought I would play it because it's so completely ridiculous. Now, just take a little listen.
Go meat, go meat, go meat.
That salad rocks! The best! Make it easy at your desk.
It's second to none. Just add lettuce and you're done.
That's crazy, girl. I swear.
There is so much stuff in there.
Salad?
Yeah! A meaty salad. Why? Because you hungry. You hungry. Your mama says you hungry.
When I say Hillshire, you say farm. Hillshire!
Farm! Go meat!
Go meat. I mean, you can't have a salad without meat on it, right? No. What the fuck would you want a salad without meat for?
I don't know.
Of all things. I mean, come on. Ridiculous.
That's one of my major pet peeves is people ruining a perfectly good vegetables with meat.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, for those of you, you take a salad, perfectly good greens, and this is what happens all the time wherever you go in America. You get a salad, but there's a salad with meat on it and like blue cheese dressing and 4 kinds of oil and sugar and salt and like 8 gazillion things. And it's like, by the time you do that, what is the point of a salad if you're going to cover the motherfucker in meat and cheese and dairy and eggs and fish and whatever the hell else we cover these salads in?
Good question.
And this is a commercial that is like, ooh, it's funny, right?
Yeah, the only way you could possibly be full on a salad is to add meat and all that shit.
You just got to eat a whole salad. That's all. You got to eat a big
You
salad.
gotta eat a big salad and put lots of vegetables on it, and perhaps some beans or other legumes.
Indeed. Oh man. Well, anyway, that video was annoying.
A salad on its own with just vegetables isn't manly enough either.
That's true.
That's also going on there. 'cause
Not
it's,
manly. Yeah. Well, there's a part where the guy talks about where they're singing about putting meat on the salad, and this big meaty guy jumps up on a desk, and it's like meaty guy, Well, whatever. You know how it is, people. This is the way the world is.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's we belong to a CSA, that's Community Supported Agriculture, for those of you who don't know. And every week we get a nice delivery of vegetables, and they're gorgeous vegetables. Like, I don't know how this guy does it.
And nice fruit too.
He just is like the best strawberries I've ever had.
They are really good.
Really gorgeous greens and everything. And this year they started handing out recipes. And I think one of the people who belongs to the CSA is compiling recipes. And they had this recipe for a spinach salad.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah. And we were looking at the ingredients, and I'm like, started off okay, spinach, and then maybe some strawberries and a couple other things. And then, oh yeah, add blue cheese. And then, ground turkey.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? This spinach is so beautiful on its own.
I know, and you're going to add dead stuff to it.
Fried dead stuff.
But they're pretty good about, our CSA is good about vegans. I mean, they're really respectful of vegans. Like they were talking about a meat CSA that you could join nearby, and they apologize in a little email or letter they sent us for offending any vegan members. So that's pretty thoughtful of them.
It is.
They read our book too.
They did.
So
yeah, and they were very happy that they could supply us with greens, which are healthy. So
yeah, I think since we talked about greens with them, they've actually had a lot more different kinds of greens. It's great.
Yeah, no, I do love our CSA. I'm not trying to complain about.
Don't diss our CSA, man. Those people feed us.
I know they do. They keep us very healthy throughout the summer.
All right. Well, plowing right on through.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Didn't mean to go on a tangent there.
Tangents are good. What else would our show be about without tangents?
We're all about tangents.
We're totally about tangents. We only do tangents. Plowing right along through. This is an article we got from several people, actually. And I'm hesitant to bring up the Dalai Lama again. This is like the 3rd or 4th week we've dealt with him. But such monumental asshattery. I mean, it's difficult to step away from it.
It is.
And someone else requested that the sensitive New Age vegan deal with these questions as well. And so perhaps he will have to make an appearance on the show.
Yeah, at some point.
You okay there?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, people, you do know, I mean, we've gotten emails from people who are like, the sensitive New Age vegan just is not you, Bob. No, really? Really? You think not? It's a joke. So I want people to understand. Maybe our Californian listeners thought it was serious. I don't know. No, it is a joke. We will have the sensitive New Age vegan back on at some point, though. Anyway, this is an article we got from several listeners, so I thank all of them who sent it in. There were a bunch of them. And this is the Dalai Lama who was talking about animal rights at the Crocodile Hunter Zoo. So this is from Birwa. What a great name, Birwa. We probably have a listener there. It's in Australia. Birwa, Australia. With creatures great and small around him, the Dalai Lama called Wednesday for a halt to lab experiments on animals and made the case for eating only fruits and vegetables. All at the zoo of the late crocodile hunter Steve Irwin. Now, at this point, we will pause and do one of these little doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo moments where we go back in time, only several weeks ago, to a couple Vegan Freak radios back when we talked about the Dalai Lama and something he was served when he went to Wisconsin, correct? Mm-hmm. Jenna, can you please enlighten our audience? What was the Dalai Lama eating in Wisconsin? Veal. And what else?
Dead baby cow.
Well, didn't he have some foie gras in there?
I don't know.
Am I imagining that?
Probably.
Not that I think foie gras is any worse than veal. You know,
Right.
I think like all animal foods are pretty fucking bad. But if you go back in time, there's a Dalai Lama just several weeks ago at this thing being fed, grass-fed veal or whatever.
And liking it.
And liking it, right? Posing for pictures with the chef. And of course, we've heard all the arguments, he can't say no. it's alms. He's begging and blah, 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 fucking blah. Anyway, what if he were offered dead baby? Let's move on. The spiritual head of Tibetan Buddhists delicately handled a Burmese python and petted a koala as he feted like a rock star at Australia Zoo, speaking to a sold-out crowd of 5,000 at its open-air Crocoseum.
Crocoseum.
Yeah, Crocoseum.
Okay.
Crocoseum, whoops. Anyway, this one. Crocoseum. Hunting, beef, sheep farms, piggeries, millions, billions die, the Dalai Lama said. We can be so cruel to animals.
Yes, then the height of irony is that he's doing this at a zoo.
He's doing it at a zoo, number one. But number two, just several weeks earlier, the man was eating animals.
Yes.
Okay. Although he sometimes sparked laughter with his remarks, the Dalai Lama's 30-minute address also had a more serious note. He criticized companies and organizations that he said remain indifferent to the rights of animals by experimenting on them. Irwin, host of the TV wildlife show Crocodile Hunter, died last September when the barb from a stingray pierced his chest while he was diving on the Great Barrier Reef. The Dalai Lama thanked Irwin's family for their support of wildlife. Taking care of animals is essential to developing more happiness in human beings, he said. I appreciate Steve Irwin and his wife Terry, all their dedication. Now, what an instrumental use of animals that is as well. It's like taking care of animals is essential to developing more happiness in human beings. It's like, what about animals themselves? It's like, we should take care of animals because it makes us better.
It makes us feel better,
Yeah.
right?
The hour-long zoo tour was a change for the Dalai Lama, whose trip to Australia has prompted lawmakers to express concern about meetings with the man China considers an exiled troublemaker. So it goes on to talk about kind of how John Howard, the conservative idiot that he is, agreed to see Dalai Lama and all this other on and on and on. The Dalai Lama, his red robe flapping in the wind, received a standing ovation as he took the stage at the Crocoseum on a sunny but crisp winter morning. Some of the crowd waved Buddhist prayer flags, and about a dozen Australian native birds, including black cockatoos and rainbow lorikeets, unexpectedly flew into the stadium just as he began speaking. They knew they were in the presence of the Lama, and they knew it.
His holiness.
His holiness. I hope they didn't turn their backs to him. Otherwise, he might exercise his feudal powers over them. Anyway, he went on to talk about all different kinds of things. He says, I'm a monk, I don't have kids, and he likes kids and all this other shit. So I just wanted to point this out, this article that several people had sent us, because it is the height of hypocrisy. I mean, to argue that we shouldn't test on animals, that we should not be mean to animals, and then to eat them. What the hell?
Yeah. But it's actually somebody else that has a website that many people pointed us to. All is Bad Karma Lama, I think.
Bad Karma Lama, yeah. That's a
where
great
people
site.
are calling him to task on his contradictions.
Absolutely. And they're deep contradictions. I mean, because it's like, if you care about animals, the easiest thing to do is to not eat them.
Hey.
Or not to eat them. I suppose I don't want to split my infinitive for all you grammar Nazis out there. Oh shit, I just dropped my Post-its on the floor. It means they're dog food.
Yep.
Keep talking.
Okay. So anyway, we also have a voicemail.
Can't reach them.
That
Go
had
ahead.
to do with, I think it was Carly. Might as well play that now, since it's thematic.
Hey freaks, it's Carly from Utah, and I just thought I'd share with you something that I came across. I recently ordered some leaflets from KentuckyFriedCruelty.com because me and my friend, who I recently converted to be a vegetarian, we are doing a protest at KFC, and I ordered some stuff to help. And it has a bunch of celebrities saying what they think about how cruel KFC is. And there's one about the Dalai Lama. And he says, KFC's support for cruelty and mass slaughter violate Tibetan rules. I have been particularly concerned with the sufferings of chickens for many years. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. I just kind of thought that was bullshit because he eats baby cows. And I don't know much about Buddhism, but I know that they worship cows, I think. And they'll eat baby ones. So I just thought that was kind of bullshit. So I'd share. Okay, thanks, bye.
Buddhists don't worship cows, but
Hindus do.
But anyway.
Right.
But I mean, the point stands, right? Whether or not you worship them or not, the point is there. Is like, here's a guy who's saying, no, Kentucky Fried Chicken's cruel, but he'll eat veal.
Mm-hmm.
Same point.
Yep.
We don't need to go into it any further.
No, we don't.
Because we don't want to like pound into the ground, you know?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So now what?
I've
lost my outline. Where did it go here?
It's over there. I think all we have left is emails and voicemails.
Okay. So, and we have a lot. We're catching up.
We're a lot to catch up on.
Oh my god. Let's do the top 10 list.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Should I read this or do you want to?
Go ahead.
Did you ever get the sound out of this one?
Oh shit, I forgot. It was a new not vegan sound.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, damn it. Oh well.
Okay, this is from someone named Doug Allen, and Doug apparently is a comedy writer, so this should be quite good. He says, I enjoy your podcast and been listening for about 9 months. I mean, you could have made a baby in that time. You shouldn't be listening to our show. He said, from time to time, I felt almost compelled to respond to something in your podcast, but either I never got around to it, or I was listening in the car and forgot by the time I got home. So here are my top 10 responses to the Vegan Freak podcast that I never sent until now. Counting them down in late night TV style. Maybe we should go back and forth, Jenna. What do you think?
Sure.
These are for entertainment purposes, of course, he says. Number 10. To anyone who thinks it's okay to drink cow milk. Cow milk is for a calf. Human milk is for a baby human. So if you think adult humans should drink milk, human milk would be more appropriate. To mass produce human milk, we need to artificially inseminate many adult females and milk them. But by keeping the females pregnant all the time, we end up having a bunch of babies. What should we do with them? How about we keep the babies in small cages so they don't have any room to move and sell them to a restaurant as baby human veal? If that's not appropriate treatment for a human, we can hardly justify treating an animal the same way. Good point. Jenna, do number 9.
Number 9. If you still insist on drinking milk, you shouldn't buy it in a store. If you want milk, you should get it from yourself by going to a farm and milking a bull. In response to your comment about people thinking that they're male and female cows. And by the way, I grew up in Montana.
Milking a bull.
milking
Number
a bull.
8. If vegans don't eat cheese, what the hell are we supposed to say when someone takes a picture of us? Saying cheese just seems inappropriate. Maybe we should say beans, peas, or broccoli.
That's a good one. Number 7, Whole Foods. Bob, on one of your last podcasts, you started ranting about Whole Foods. Like, that really narrows down the episode for you. I was driving home listening to your rant. When I passed Whole Foods, unrolled my window, screamed, "This is from me and Bob Torres," and flipped them the bird. The store was closed. Nobody was there, but it had to be done. You're welcome.
Thank you. Absolutely. I do it too. I usually just go give my finger. Number 6. If we lived in an all-vegan world, what would Bob and Jenna talk about on their podcast? That's easy. We'd still have issues like the disappearing bees, genetically modified foods, processed foods, abandoned pets, pet breeders, and people who train their dogs to be gay and prance around in contests. Mini rant, even if we get rid of factory farming, there are still plenty of dumbasses out there that will do something insanely stupid to our food supply. So don't worry about losing your job once we eliminate factory farms. There will still be some dickhead doing things like vat-grown meat, which will have its own special section at Whole Foods. Mini rant. Number 5.
Number 5, to listener Lonnie from New Orleans, whose family wanted her to come to the annual crawfish boil. How can I put it through their skulls, her words, that I'm not going to go and witness that? How to get it through their skulls? Have you considered using a captive bolt?
Oh my God. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Number 4, vegan shoes. To the guy that, quote unquote, tries not to wear leather but still wears leather shoes from time to time, you're not trying very hard. Get yourself some canvas Vans. They're cheap and comfortable. And you know that as you make a little effort to seek out cool vegan shoes, there are a lot of great options out there. I started getting cheap non-leather shoes at Payless and Target, but found good shoes was hit or miss. Then I started ordering online, which again was hit or miss because half the shoes I ordered didn't fit very well and they got returned. Then I splurged and got 3 kick-ass pairs of shoes from veganwares.com. I had to trace my foot on a piece of paper and send them a bunch of foot measurements along with a sample shoe, and they made shoes that were custom fit to my feet. Let me tell you, these shoes fit like a glove. Maybe that's not a good expression, but you get the point. I know the listeners can't see the pictures of my shoes, but I'm attaching this email so you can see. And they are very nice shoes indeed.
They are.
They're very, very fancy looking shoes. And those are just like, yeah. Anyway, I'm looking at the shoes like thinking you all can see these, but anyway. The shoes are so stunning that people notice and comment on them, giving me the chance to tell them they're 100% vegan. Number 3.
Cool. Number 3. You wanted more not vegan sounds for your show. Here's Animal from the Muppet Show. To me, doesn't take. And of course, I forgot to pull it off the email.
It sounded kind of like this. Not vegan!
We'll play it next show.
Yes, we will.
And he trashed his voice doing it, so.
And we will play it next show for sure. Yeah. Number 2, Dalai Lama. I will give $1 to everyone who meets the Dalai Lama in person, then turns their back on him, drops trowel, and moons him.
Number 1. In case you read this email on your show, I have just one final thing to say. fuck?
Absolutely. I think it'd be more like fuck, because he has an exclamation point.
Oh, right. Sorry. I didn't do the exclamation point.
That's from Doug Allen, and the site that he talks about for the shoes is veganwares.com. I cannot endorse it. I've never seen it. I should have done the research.
It's in Australia.
In Australia?
It's, maybe not.
I don't know.
Anyway.
But anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. What do you think?
Yeah. Thank you for that, Doug.
Yeah. So, there we go.
All right. More emails?
More emails. We've got a bunch. We've got bunches and bunches. Let's see here. Bunch and bunch and bunch. How many you want? Do it? You
Okay.
take two, I take two.
Okay.
You can go first.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey guys, I've been a vegetarian for 4 years and just recently became a vegan, though I've been listening to your podcast for a while. Anyway, a quick anecdote. I was at the theater the other day and this guy was flirting with his annoying girl next to him.
Is this from Jamie?
Yes.
Good.
She asked him if he was vegetarian and he said, no, I used to be, but it made me feel gross. Then the girl said, shit-faced off her ass, by the way, yeah, me too, it made me feel sick all the time. I just wanted to butt in and say, well, it sounds like someone lived off Wendy's, Frosties, and Cheetos. Maybe that's why you drunkard. To top the night off, the show I was seeing was Ugh. It was a caveman comedy, but the main story was all about hunting boar. I know it was a show, I know it was a joke, and I know no one in the audience is going to go hunt boar, but still, it's things in popular culture like this that makes eating meat and killing animal normalized.
That's true.
Yes. People don't realize that they are affected on a subconscious level by culture that essentially brainwashes them. What kills me is that everyone is stupid, naive, and infantile enough to actually think that they can't be affected by pop culture. I hate righteous people who think they're too fucking smart to be affected.
Like me.
Okay, so now I actually have a real reason for writing. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on honey R? Obviously, honey is not vegan, but a question is, why? I've done some research, though probably not enough. I just wanted to hear from you guys what's up with honey.
Oh my god, that is totally not vegan.
Exactly. What exactly happens to the bees? Thanks, Jamie.
Okay.
Yes, I've convinced one of my roommates to go vegetarian, and now I've got her listening to you guys. So keep your fingers crossed. We may soon have one less lacto-ovo in the world.
All right. First off, the vegetarian listener, you need to go back and listen to the show that we did I don't remember what number it was, but we give you reasons to step away from vegetarianism and go into veganism. And it's not because we think that it's like, morally, well, it is morally superior. Not because we're morally superior, but reasons that logically one would make that leap.
Indeed.
So we'd like to encourage you to do that.
Yes.
But two things there that I want to comment on. The first thing, the issue of kind of ideological setup of society and how we're always exposed to these things that normalize the practices that lead to the exploitation of animals. This is what speciesism is, right? It's institutionalized into every aspect of our culture. So it's not just this like individualized notion where you are discriminating against animals or whatever, but it's actually built into the very logic of our society. So that's why it's so difficult to escape, and that's why it needs to be fought at deeper levels. That's kind of what my book's about. But moving on to the question of honey. Honey is totally not vegan.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Some people will say like, oh, you shouldn't worry about honey. I'm a vegan and I eat honey. I eat honey because I hate bees. Someone actually told us that. What other reasons are there?
I don't know.
It's good
some
for
people
you.
have stupid health reasons. Yeah.
Bee pollen is good for your junk. I don't know. I mean, like people come up with a million different. People can attribute all these different ideas to what honey does, right? It helps your immune system, hurts your immune system. It's great for you. It's not great for you. Like all these different things about honey. And, I just don't really care. To me, this is what it comes down to. Do I know if bees are sentient? I don't really know. I have no idea. I just don't know. But are bees animals?
Yes.
Yes. Is honey therefore a product of an animal?
Yes.
And do vegans avoid animal products?
Yes.
Therefore, since honey is not difficult to avoid, unless you're trying to buy whole wheat bread at a fucking health store, I avoid it, just simply to err on the side of caution.
Of course.
I mean, I think it's part of like, the things that we as human beings do to subjugate animals, and there's no reason that we need honey. So I don't eat it.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah, they're in the animal kingdom. It's basically farming bees.
Yes.
And exploiting them, just as we would exploit any other member of the animal kingdom for their products, and so therefore it's not cool. I
don't like the honey topic to come up though when I'm talking to non-vegans, because it is ultimately, here's the thing, like if you're talking to someone about veganism, they go, well, can I, what about honey? I'll tell them what I think about honey, but I don't like that to be the focus of the conversation, because for a lot of people that's a difficult leap to make, right? So,
And especially if you're talking with people who are trying to find any reason possible to make veganism look untenable.
right. I don't like to really talk about it in that situation, but I will. I don't run from it, but
No, right.
I don't ever use that as kind of an argument for veganism, like,
Right.
oh my God, the poor bees, I mean, like I don't eat it, but on the other hand, I don't think it's a compelling way to begin an argument with someone, or not an argument, but to get someone to think about veganism, because people don't, who identifies with bees, like people don't intrinsically identify with bees. Another thing I want to know, does anyone out there know, why are all the bees on television that are animated Hispanic?
I have no idea.
There's that little bee for the Nasonex commercial. He is Hispanic.
There's the one on the Simpsons.
And then there's the one with The Simpsons. And there's another one too, I think. But anyway, I don't know why, but that's the case. That's something to think about.
Yeah, we actually saw one the other day, and it wasn't Hispanic. We were surprised. I forget where that was. But
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, moving on. This email is from Allison, and she says, I love your podcast. It is the most entertaining podcast I subscribe to, as well as very informative. I learn something new with each show. You guys are great. And she says, I've been vegetarian for 2 years and vegan for 1, by the way. So glad you're vegan. Congratulations. Good stuff. Okay. I also want to tell you how you inspired me. I just graduated from high school, and my mother wanted to have a graduation party. However, she wanted it to be not only non-vegan, but non-vegetarian. Instead of caving in, as I might have done earlier, I stood up for my beliefs. There was no meat at my party. However, she did slip in some macaroni and cheese for the kids and unadventurous adults. But everyone loved the black bean burgers, sweet potatoes, pasta dishes, hummus, veggies, fruit trays, etc. I got many compliments from staunch meat eaters about the vegetarian fare. I feel it was very successful, and I want to thank you for your inspiration. Keep making your awesome shows. Love, Allison.
very
so,
cool.
Glad we could be of help there, Allison. And actually, I would like to congratulate you for standing firm on your principles with this. That's very good. And your parents must indeed be very supportive of you. So I could see.
Hard to do with family.
It would be. It would be. I could see some parents being like, "What?
Yeah.
No." So, yep. Jenna, you're next.
All right. This one comes from Ottawa Frank, in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. He says, I'm a very recent convert to veganism after being vegetarian for 2 years, and it's thanks to podcasts like Vegan Freak and movies like Earthlings that I was able to make the important switch. Yay! Your show has opened my eyes to many issues that I would probably not have even considered otherwise, and I really appreciate how you actively and skillfully conceptualize, analyze, evaluate, and apply the volume of information gathered and condensed into every show. Although I could do without the negative jabs at religion, sorry, I still value...
Are you really?
Not really. I apologize for offending people, but we're still going to do it anyway. How's that?
I don't know. I want people to understand, I look at religion as yet another tool for controlling people.
Of course.
So I see things that way, and I have for a long time, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but I got to say I got to comment on what I see going on.
I know. Well, part of anarchism is challenging hierarchies, and what is religion but massive hierarchies?
And you shouldn't listen to me anyway. I mean, whatever I say, if you don't think it's right,
make your own decisions.
Exactly.
Okay, anyway. I still value the Vegan Freak podcast for what it is, an often humorous and always entertaining and thought-provoking look at animal rights issues that entices listeners to develop critical thinking and reasoning and encourages them to communicate this information to others.
Sweet. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Very good. Thank you.
Yes. The reason I'm writing you today is that I was recently watching some behind-the-scenes footage from the movie Evan Almighty, and it featured a variety of animals helping Steve Carell build an ark. The clips I saw included footage of baboons rolling logs and an assortment of other animals being trained to move and react on cue. Clearly, I'm against the kind of animal exploitation that takes place in circuses and animal shows where elephants are made to walk in circles and dolphins jump through hoops, but I've never really stopped to think about animals in movies. I know very little about the training and handling that takes place when animals appear in movies, but the entire idea of using them purely for entertainment purposes is one I vehemently oppose. Obviously, there's a difference between a movie where a dog licks a kid's face and a western where a horse is tripped on purpose to create a desired action shot, but where do we draw the line? And as an amusing side note, I find it interesting that the credits sometimes feature the disclaimer, no animals were harmed in the making of this movie, when actors are seen drinking milk or eating meat. Since I value your opinions, I'd like to know your thoughts on the subject of animals in motion pictures. Thanks. Ottawa Frank. And you're yawning.
Sorry. Nothing personal. Sometimes they just hit me.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for the kind words about the show, Ottawa Frank. In terms of animals being used in entertainment, in general, I just think they shouldn't be used in entertainment, period.
Mm-mm.
So whether that use is extremely benign or whether that use is extremely cruel, I think in both cases, you're looking at a potential problem in that animals are being used instrumentally for a human end.
Exactly.
So I have a problem with that, whether the animals are physically harmed during it. I mean, I have more of a problem with the physical harm during it and less of a problem with them not being harmed, but they're still being used, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're still being forced to do something. And I think of it like this, what if there were severely mentally disabled adults that were being forced to do things on camera? They were given, using a reward-based structure to do something on camera. They're, maybe not extremely rational in the sense that we think of rationality, right? They're not in possession of the same faculties of rationality that we would consider a non-severely mentally disabled person to have. But if they were doing that stuff on film, some people would find that quite objectionable because, it's kind of, there's also an ableist thing going on there where you'd be mocking their condition, number one. But number two, it's also a question of not being able to consent to it, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the big issue with animals as I see it. They don't have the ability to consent or not to consent to doing these things. They're being forced into it. Mm-hmm. So I don't generally like it. I don't think that animals should be used in that way, and I think it should just be stopped. But I'm a radical fundamentalist vegan asshole. So I tend to think that way. Right. But I tend to think that way based on some fairly rational criteria. It's not like I'm pulling these things out of the air or my anus.
Right.
Okay. Do you have more to add on that?
No, I don't.
Okay. Let's move on.
Okay.
Mark writes to us and says, just wanted to let you guys know. No, I want to let you know how much I love the podcast. I've been vegan for 6 months. I don't think I could have done it without you guys. I'm glad that we could help you. Anyway, I have a bit of a moral dilemma and I wondered if you could help. I'm starting to dislike people who actually eat meat around me, and I don't think this can be mentally healthy. I feel really bad because it's mainly my family and friends. I try to bite my tongue and not say anything, but lately it's left me feeling ill thoughts. What can I do? That's from Mark.
Well, you're probably right. It probably isn't healthy because you're going to be around them your entire life. There's no way around it, unless you move to a vegan commune.
Imagine how annoying that would be.
Yeah, really. Or you only go out with vegan friends and only go to vegan restaurants.
You could do
sounds
that.
Good.
Depending on where you live.
If you live in New York City, you could potentially do that.
Well, he's in the UK. I mean, if he lived in London, it might be possible, or some of the bigger cities, perhaps, in the UK. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I mean, you could try to if it really bothers you, you could try to minimize the occasions where food's present or where you're present at the same time as food. It's tough. I mean, no one really likes it. I think a lot of the stuff is pretty disgusting. Mm-hmm. I talked on the show a long time ago, but I talked on the show once about having to be at this kind of banquet dinner where people were dressed very nicely, yet picking apart a chicken, you know? And to me, it was like this weird kind of contrast. These people are wearing really nice suits and very classy dresses, and they're picking apart a chicken. They look like fucking cave people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, chicken, and ripping it apart. And so it's distracting. It's weird. It's troubling, and I don't know. But I don't know what to tell you in terms of. It's something you gotta. I think it's natural to feel some kind of revulsion to it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me often sad to see people do that, or disgusted, or my two usual reactions.
Yeah.
But I think you also need to have a little bit of patience, especially with like family, because I mean, think about it. If you weren't born vegan,
right,
you had to come to this realization at some point, and before that, you ate meat. And so I think it's important to remember that, these people either don't know what you know, or they don't like to think about what you know. So I think it's important to remember the mindset that you had before then, and be a little more patient. I mean, I totally understand where you're at, because we are around meat so infrequently that when we are, it really bothers me. So
me too, absolutely.
And it is annoying that why do people eat this?
You don't have to.
You just want to shout at them like, stop.
And on top of it all, I mean, the fact that it's not good for animals is one thing, and the fact that it's also not good for them is another thing. Like, physically eating meat is not good for you. I mean, it's not. There is no way in which it is good for you. Mm-hmm. So I find the whole thing very frustrating. So I feel the pain. Are we out of emails now?
I believe so.
All right. So you want to move on to voicemails?
Voicemails.
time once again for some vegan freak voicemail. Maybe we'll hear from a hot chick
or a choice male.
Callers make us happy and help us keep our sanity, even if all they wanna do is fucking complain about the shitload of profanity.
Okay, I want to say this time that the non-North Americans pulled through for us.
All right.
We have some excellent voicemails from around the world this week. Let's start with this one. This is from Vinny. I'll just let this voicemail explain itself. How about that?
Okay.
Hi Jenna, hi Bob, this is Vinny.
And this is Olivia.
We're from Ireland and we've been listening to your show from way back when. Right back to the start, in fact. Love the show and thought we'd voicemail you with something on our minds that might help some other vegans out there.
We became the happy parents of a new little vegan baby girl 7 months ago, and naturally, as we've been vegan for years, I had a totally vegan pregnancy, and I'm now vegan while breastfeeding our little vegan freak. He's chatting away while we talk.
However, while we were perfectly confident vegans beforehand, and usually unfazed by any of the crappy, unscientific, and plain wrong health arguments that usually get thrown at you by other people, this kind of changed the moment Olivia actually got pregnant. Suddenly you get all these kind of parental guilt emotions kicking in about doing the best for your child, and you start to doubt yourself. And of course this isn't helped by all the friends and family who, while up to now usually tolerated you being vegan or never really passed comment on it, but suddenly start to think that you're about to murder your child or maim it for life by depriving it of dead flesh, and not joining in with them being the only mammals crazy enough to drink another mammal's milk. They come out with all sorts of things like, you need protein, or your baby will be deformed.
Or the funniest of all, a workmate told me that my baby would have insatiable meat cravings for the rest of its life.
Daft. But however, we reassured ourselves by reading up on all the stuff we already knew, plus some kind of basic facts about baby and pregnancy nutrition.
Yeah, so some good stuff to look at is vegfamily.com, or Vegan Lunchbox is really good for just reassuring yourself it can be done with older children. Feeding Your Vegan Infant with Confidence by Sandra Hood is very good, and I think that only is available from Amazon UK. And Rose Elliott's books are good, and Michael Clapper's book is very good as well. So it's worth making yourself informed so you can feel more confident about feeding yourself and your baby when it's born.
Yeah. Then, of course, the other thing during pregnancy is the medical staff you're going to meet during the course of it, who, like most society, they're going to vary from being perfectly nice people who are sympathetic to vegetarianism and veganism to kind of total idiots who have no time for it. So again, it's worth knowing your stuff before going in to meet them, and it's possibly worth going to see a dietitian who's sympathetic to veganism or vegetarianism. It's not that you need to, but it can reassure the medical staff that you're actively monitoring your diet.
Yeah, more importantly, it shuts them up really quickly when you say, I've spoken to my dietitian about that already.
Yeah. So we went to see a dietitian, and while I think we probably knew more about vegan nutrition than she did, although she was very interested and started to read lots about veganism and said Olivia had a very healthy diet. And she did have some handy hints, which is why over a year later I'm still making Olivia nightly soy milk hot chocolates, supposedly for the calcium.
And the vitamins.
Yeah, right. The funny thing is, though, that the very doctors who tell you to take extra special care because you're vegan seem to be perfectly happy to tell an Omni who has morning sickness that it's okay to just eat biscuits for 3 months. They just seem to get this irrational fear about veganism.
And another thing that worried us at the beginning was iron, because everyone tells you need to take iron supplements, but they're not very nice on your belly apparently. So I got tested for iron at the beginning to make sure I didn't need it, and my iron levels were very high, which was great, and they were very happy with that. And it wasn't until the last month of pregnancy that I needed to take supplements, and only because it had dropped slightly. So in contrast, some meat eaters have to take iron for their entire pregnancy. So just as long as you make sure to take iron-rich foods and vitamin C when you're taking them, you'll be fine. Another handy thing was that our local doctor was actually a woman from India, and she was very used to vegetarian patients. Not specifically vegan, but she'd actually seen a lot of vegetarian pregnancies and thought it was very healthy.
Another thing to be on to look out for is diet questions from medical staff.
So at the beginning I was asked if I had a normal diet, and I just said yes without thinking, and it was only later when I asked if I needed any extra blood tests for B12 or anything as I was vegetarian that the nurse freaked out at me, telling me I should have told her I didn't have a normal diet. So I explained it was normal for me, and she wasn't too impressed.
Then there's the weight gain thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah. As a vegan you mightn't put on the same amount of weight as Omnis, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. My obstetrician had said that I was better off actually putting on less weight than huge amounts of weight, and it's a perfect excuse anyway to eat lots of healthy fats in your diet, like yummy avocados and everything. And Our baby was very big. She was 8.5 pounds when she was born, so good, healthy little baby.
Excellent.
Yeah, and you also need to increase your calcium and B12, don't you, as well?
Yeah, your baby, as far as I know, basically takes everything from your body, so it'll harvest your calcium and harvest B12. You just need to make sure for yourself, for your own good, that you drink fortified soy milk or fortified juice. And as we said earlier, the best way to increase your soy milk is to actually make it into hot chocolate. You know, it's hard, but you manage.
Yeah, that's the only way, apparently. And
remember, in the last trimester, your baby actually can taste the food you eat in its amniotic fluid. And then later, when you're breastfeeding, it actually tastes the food you're eating as well. So you're actually giving the baby a taste for your family food, which is great. And if you're vegan as well, the thing is you're probably actually more interested in your diet than normally. So it should feel quite natural, really, putting in a little bit extra time, just doing the initial homework that you need to. And in any case, it's something all women should be doing before they get pregnant.
Yeah, so we're not trying to give people medical advice, but what we're saying is that you can have a perfectly happy vegan pregnancy with no problems that are caused by being vegan, and anyone who tells you otherwise is talking through their arse.
As we say in Ireland.
Yeah, or ass in America. As proof, we have a happy, healthy 7-month-old who has grown as big as a house and has already successfully developed more cognitive abilities than most adult politicians ever will. So if you're having a baby, don't worry, just get informed and eat well and be happy that you're giving your baby the best start in life possible without having to rely on death or torture of our fellow animals.
That's right.
Lastly, I'd like to talk about breastfeeding. It's very important as a vegan that you try breastfeeding, as most of the baby formulas out there are made from cow's milk, and they can include fish oil for the DHA, which we make naturally in our own milk. And human milk is the best thing for human babies, and also it's the best thing for you as well to breastfeed, because it helps you recover from the birth a lot faster. One thing to remember though is you don't need to drink milk to make milk, as a lot of omni-moms might try to tell you. Just keep eating well and your baby should go up being big, healthy and happy. Our little baby, she increased her birth weight by about 5.5 months, I think. So I doubled her birth weight, so that was great.
Yeah, and she's a big bruiser now. She even punches me out sometimes. So that's it. I hope we've made any potential vegan parents out there feel a bit more confident that they've nothing to worry about with regard to diet. The sleepless nights, however, are a different issue. Thanks again, Bob and Jenna, for a great show. See ya.
Bye, stay freaky.
Thank you so much for that.
That was awesome.
That was great. And it's such a perfect response and follow-up to the kinds of idiotic things that we're hearing all the time now about because of this case here in the U.S. where these two parents, fed their kid apple juice and the kid died, right? So everyone thinks being a vegan parent or having a vegan pregnancy is impossible. Yet we hear from people like Vinny and... Olivia, thank you. And their wee one...
I forget.
Sorry. I should have written it down as I was listening. In any case, I mean, the point is that what a healthy, happy sounding family who had thought through these issues, who was careful and considerate about it. And the thing that most people don't stop to think about, I think, is that it's entirely possible to have a non-vegan pregnancy and still not get the things that you need.
Exactly.
Like you can, if you live on soda and Twinkies and potato chips and other kinds of shitty food, you're not helping your baby out. You're not giving your baby a good start in life by doing that.
Right, and like they said, you can eat nothing but biscuits for 3 months.
Exactly,
and that's not helping at all. You're not getting any nutrients. So yeah, and your baby sounded so unhealthy and so unhappy during the whole thing there. Yeah,
really, it sounded like you were torturing the poor child. I mean, forcing the poor child to eat a vegan diet.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, that was such a thoughtful a voicemail, and I'm going to remember this show so I can point people to it when we hear from folks about how they should. How they should plan a vegan pregnancy.
Exactly.
And, we know enough vegan parents who have vibrant, intelligent, wonderful vegan children that the evidence is there. I mean,
yeah, it's frustrating.
It is frustrating. And to hear some of their experiences, too, is very frustrating as well. I mean, it's good that they found a doctor who was at least sympathetic to veganism, but to also hear some people, talk about it like a diet that is somehow deficient, and that the look that people give you too,
Yeah.
I used to get some of that, a little bit of that, but now that we go to our doctor and, I don't get any of that now that I was able to prove kind of that it worked.
Yeah.
Once you prove it works, they don't give you any more shit anymore.
Nope.
So, I don't know. So thank you for that excellent voicemail, and, I guess we'll move on.
All right.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. My name's Anna Redding. I'm from San Francisco. I've called in before on my question about animals being used as art pieces, which I know is not vegan. Anyway, I come from a family of Christians. I'm one of 5 kids, and 3 out of 5 are Christian, as well as my parents. When I became vegan, they were kind of perplexed about the idea, but they still respected me for the discipline I had and for the beliefs that I strongly held. Thankfully, my family is extremely supportive. And for my going away party, when I moved to San Francisco, my mom made me an all-vegan feast for my family. And she continues to support me with buying vegan products when she comes to visit. And she's actually a nurse, and she asks about my stance, like why my stance is valid almost all the time. I've almost convinced her to at least become a vegetarian, and I think I've heard her say that someday she'd go vegan. But my siblings are always curious about what I have to say about veganism, too. But anyways, they kind of hit a wall when they think about what is okay in Christianity as far as the consumption of animals. I've always been struck with the dominion argument that is stated in, I think, Genesis 1:16 or something. I've actually looked up the word dominion, and it means authority, which doesn't at all say that it's okay to exploit and kill animals. I've said this, and I've argued some other points, but they still stand with the fact that God thinks it's okay to eat animals. This bothers me, and I wish I had more to offer in these discussions, but I don't know, usually they are very, I always kind of hit that wall. I know your guys' stance on Christianity, but I think that all religions deserve a certain amount of respect, whether it be Buddhism, Muslim, Judaism, or Christianity. I know a lot of Christians who don't get involved with the church because they actually just don't enjoy going, and they believe that having a healthy relationship with God is possible without attending church. My brother actually is exactly like that. My family is like very supportive and caring, and like they're the most incredible group of individuals I know. They've been extremely supportive through all of this. But keeping this in mind, I know that 80% of the country claims to have some belief in God, or so. I think so. I know that study was conducted in like 2001 or something. But anyways, I'd like to know your thoughts on the subject, and if you guys have any issues I could discuss with my family, let me know what they are. Thanks. Thanks for doing the show. It's awesome. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Well, we're probably not the people to ask, actually.
See, I don't... I want to respectfully disagree with her before I go into our answer. I don't think religion innately deserves respect. Mm-mm. Like, I don't think that irrational beliefs deserve respect simply because they're beliefs. I mean, I know that's probably going to offend 90% of you, or I know actually there have been surveys done. The United States is one of the most thoroughly religious countries on the planet. Mm-hmm. So, 90% of people out there, I think, or more, believe in some kind of God, and more than half of the people in this country believe that the earth was created in under a week. So, yeah, we're going to run into these things. But the thing is that I don't believe that irrational beliefs innately deserve respect simply because they're beliefs. Mm-hmm. People have irrational beliefs about all kinds of things. People have irrational beliefs about consuming animals. People have irrational beliefs about women and people of color. People have irrational beliefs about the jolly man who comes down the chimney at Christmas. And to me, religion is yet another set of irrational beliefs, and I don't think innately it deserves my respect. Partially because of all the things that have been done in the name of religion. So that's kind of an answer that's different from what you're looking for. But one thing you said in there, I just felt like I had to respond to that. Now, with that said, I don't know. I mean, the problem with the Bible arguments is that you can find justification for all number of things in the Bible if you read it carefully enough. I mean, I believe there's stuff in the Bible that I shouldn't see my wife when she's unclean. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that you can find justification or arguments for things in there in the Bible, even contradictory arguments throughout the entire book itself. Right? You can find arguments in there that homosexuality should be punished by death. You know, things like that. I don't know how to argue against that. You can't. I mean, in a sense, you can't argue against it, because what it does is it sets up the terms of the argument in a way that is logically consistent only to itself. So here's the thing. It's like, this is the word of God. The word of God is this. Anything else that tries to challenge us is not the word of God. How can you convince someone who believes that the Bible is a literal word of God that there's any other way to read it or understand it? You can't. That's the way I think. I mean, I don't think you can. Can you?
Probably not. I mean, if that's what they want to see out of the Bible, then that's what they're going to see out of the Bible. But I don't know. Some people use the argument that, well, in the Garden of Eden, they were vegetarian until the fall.
Right.
So it's actually sin that made us eat meat, or whatever the hell. They some form of that argument. So
right.
So that's what some people use. And other people see dominion as, no, it is caretaking. Like you said, that doesn't mean you have to kill and exploit. So it is our job to take care of the earth, not to destroy it. So I don't know. But that's what some people that I've heard in response to this dominion argument. So
yeah, I mean, there's like a Christian Vegetarian Association. Probably best to check them out.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to offend our listeners who are religious. I mean, if that's your belief, it's your belief.
Right. But we respectfully disagree.
But I respectfully disagree. But no, I think there's also a guy, I'm trying to remember his name. I should have looked this up before the show as well, but I forgot to do it. I think his name is Lindsley? Shit, this keyboard. Anyway, there's a guy who writes books on this stuff.
And we're not talking about Matthew Scully.
Why not? Actually,
as the guy that you're thinking of.
Yeah, I have a lot of problems with Scully. So, in any case, I'll try to find the name of that author for the next show, or for a show where we have to deal with this. This question keeps coming up to us.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
well, it's because it's something people have to deal with in their life. I mean, that's why. I mean, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I try to avoid these kinds of arguments with people who have such deeply held beliefs, because ultimately you can't change it. It's like arguing with them about creationism or about abortion or about anything, for which they will find evidence in the Bible. You simply can't argue against the evidence that they have found in the Bible and have set up to be, quote unquote, the truth. And I just don't think there's any way you can change someone's mind about this stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But anyway, there are animal rights groups, like there's a Christian Vegetarian Association and things like that have arguments.
Okay.
What?
Nothing. You're looking. I don't know. You're looking at the screen. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say something.
No.
Anyway, sorry. That have arguments that deal with the issue of how you should approach the question.
Okay.
If you're a Christian.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean for the big pause. It looked like you were ready to say something.
No, I thought you were going to say something because you were doing
All right,
stuff
enough.
on the computer.
Enough.
Next voice.
That's not really a good answer, but that's what it is. I'm coming.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. This is Carol calling from Brisbane, Australia. I have been listening to your podcast since discovering the wonderful interviews you did with Gary Francione. Those really helped me to get my vegan thoughts in order. Even though I have been a vegan for 17 years, I realise that I have probably not been a true abolitionist until more recently. I guess I was in a comfortable rut, thinking that PETA and other welfarist organisations were helping the vegan cause. Your podcasts have made me do a complete rethink. I guess you could class me as a hippie, though not a smelly one, as I am your more mature vegan, chronologically speaking. I can actually remember that Melanie song about animals that you played on a podcast a while ago.
That was a long while.
I can still be pretty immature at times. I think you are doing a fantastic job in promoting veganism through your podcasts, especially to younger people. Do I like the profanity on your shows? Too fucking right I do. I told you I could be immature. Keep up the good work, guys. Bye for now.
That's great.
Awesome.
Thank you, Carol. Excellent. Excellent voicemail. Glad you like it, and I'm glad we can provide some entertainment for you. And
yeah, you've been vegan for 17 years, man. That's and we can still provide you vegan entertainment and help you learn things. That's great.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
Cool. I think by the time I'm a vegan for 17 years, I'm going to be old, jaded, and bitter. I mean, like, I'm bitter and jaded already until they've been a couple years. So I'm going to be really, really bitter when I'm a vegan for 17 years. I can see it coming.
You're going to be one of those old guys sitting on the porch shaking your fist at everybody.
You're meddling, kids. Yeah. I am that way now. We don't need to wait 17 years. And another voicemail from Australia.
Hey, my name's Tim. I'm from Australia. I wanted to talk about something that's been troubling me for a while now. And it's something that is becoming more and more popular around here, and it's called the sausage sizzle. Well, what is a sausage? Sausage is poor little animals chopped up into pieces and ground to mince and then put into edible condoms so they can be slapped on a grill by old men and put in between pieces of white bread with maybe some fried onion and some tomato sauce and sold for $2, usually to fathers and sons. Once upon a time it used to be at football games, but no, now it has increased. They like to do it at hardware stores on a Sunday, so if you need hardware, and I'm a vegan, but I do need hardware occasionally, like a hammer, I have to go past the grill with the stinking sausages and all the fathers and sons with their sausage sandwich dribbling their tomato sauce and their onions and their filthy stench of sausages everywhere. Okay, it was the hardware store, but now it's the electrical store. I go to buy a blender, and there they are again on the weekends with their bloody barbecue and their stinking bloody burnt meat offerings for $2. Now they're at my son's school. Some woman had a great idea. She probably said, "Hey, let's make some money and we'll sell sausages and canned drink to the kids at lunchtime." Well, now, every time there's a special day at my son's school, there's the fucking sausage sizzle. Really makes me pissed off. Love your show, guys.
Thanks, Tim.
That was an awesome rant.
That's great. I hear you, man. We have the same thing here with usually it's hot dogs.
Hot dogs, yeah.
You go to a store or something like that, and there's like this hot dog cart outside. That actually happens at hardware stores quite a lot here. Mm-hmm. So I feel your pain, man. You can't escape it. It's everywhere.
It's disgusting.
And it is disgusting.
And yeah, like you were talking about this, the father-son bonding thing. It's so annoying because it's like this manly thing, everybody with their sausages.
Yeah, really.
One big sausage fest in more than one way.
That was good. All right, next voicemail we have. And I want to thank the non-North Americans for pulling through on it for us this way. They've really come through. We said we didn't hear from outside North America, and suddenly we hear from outside North America. So we like to hear from our global audience. It's great. But anyway, this one is from Sweden. It's a little long, so hang in there. And the sound quality on it's a little, but it's good. So listen.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. I was watching Star Trek today. Yeah, I'm a Trekkie. And something I saw inspired me to send you this. In this episode, Captain Picard was faced with a choice he had to make, and he had to do it fast. It was very important. People's lives were in danger. Anyway, there was this person there from the future, or so he claimed. And Captain Picard suspected that this guy would have some useful information that would help him to make the right decision. So Picard corners him and says, people might die if you don't tell me what you know. But this guy is refusing because he doesn't want to affect the future and all that. So anyway, Picard backs off and says, I'm not the kind of person who likes to play it safe, so I choose to try. So he makes a decision based on his own judgment. And that line right there, I choose to try, made me think of what we're doing. Veganism as a movement and a lifestyle, where does it lead? How much can we really accomplish? I understand when people get frustrated because the world doesn't see what we see. Something that's so simple and clear is so well ignored, it's crazy. People tell me I'm not going to change anything just because I'm a vegan. We're going against traditions here. Everything would fall apart without animal agriculture and so on. But I'm realistic, okay? I know what I'm doing, that it isn't going to make some big changes in my lifetime. But what I do isn't for me. And what alternatives do we really have? Okay, if I give up, these animals will never get a chance for some kind of better future. If vegans choose to give up, if we decide that veganism is hopeless, animals' fate will be certain in a negative way. Right now it isn't. There's hope, there's a possibility, and I believe with more vegans in the world, this possibility will become even greater. Because, you know, there are people working on helping homeless cats and dogs, and people who want to save the seals, but those things are great, but only vegans are working on total abolition of animal slavery. There's no other group out there, no other movement that cares about cows and chickens and their rights. There's no one else saying, hey, it's wrong to wear leather, or cow's milk is for baby cows. So if we quit, their future is certain. There's no hope, there's no later, there's no, let someone else do it. There's no one else, nothing else. It can only get worse. So back to Star Trek. We choose to try. We choose to try. Either try or live a hopeless, passive life and die spineless and ignorant. I'd rather die trying, with my head up. Even if we never see some great change happen, at least we're keeping this possibility alive and this idea. So there. I'm proud of all of you vegans out there. You're my brothers and sisters. I believe that our lifestyle will lead to something great. Probably not soon, but one day. I just know it will get better one day, so don't give up. And thank you, Bob and Jenna, for Vegan Freak Radio. I love it. You're doing a great job. Never quit, okay? Take care and bye. Oh, by the way, Captain Picard made the right decision and no one died. Okay, bye.
Thank you for that voicemail.
That was awesome.
Very good points.
Yes.
I mean, isn't it, to use another sci-fi, doesn't Yoda say, there is no try, there is only do?
Yes. We do what we have to.
And, you know, we can't, she raises so many good points. It's like, yeah, you changing yourself may not do much. And people always say that, but you have to do something. You can't live your life in a way that is inconsistent with your beliefs.
Exactly.
And I like that because that voicemail encompassed a hope that a lot of people, I think, could learn from. Because I feel like a lot of times being involved in either in this movement or in veganism, it feels hopeless a lot. To me, sometimes it feels hopeless, which is why I do these things. I mean, you know, this is about channeling my hopelessness in a sense. I mean, no, I mean, you know, it's kind of a sense of, you know, pessimism of the intellect and optimism of the will.
Right. Yeah.
You know, which I should just get tattooed on myself. That and don't let the bastards get you down.
Yeah.
But in any case, I like that though, because it's an optimism that we don't often hear. And I think it's a vital optimism to have. And that, you know, she makes the point, look, we're all out there doing this, and that we are the people who are letting others know that there is a problem with this, and it's important that we're doing the work we're doing.
It is.
All of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. And I like the idea that, we got to do what we got to do, and this is what we got to do.
Right. And by being vegan, all of you out there are living abolition in your daily lives. And
That's
that
right.
is extremely important.
It is extremely important. And people often get angry at us, because we make this argument, and we always have made this argument, that veganism is essential. It has to be the baseline. It has to be. And there's no halfway. Like, you can't simultaneously say that you have problems with the way animals are treated and then live as a species just by consuming them or their products. So I think that it's a protest to the way animals are treated in our world, and it's a protest that has to mean something. And the way it will mean something is if it is consistent and thorough. Mm-hmm. That's why veganism counts, and that's why I think it's important. So what do you think?
I agree.
All right, moving on.
Hey, Baba Jenna. It's Ashley, or Wasso Noir from the Slums, and I was just calling in response to a caller on the number 73 show who called about watching Earthlings and saying she wanted to go to medical school and was kind of struggling with dissection. And I, being a pre-vet student at a university right now, am definitely, hear her out and know what she's going through. And I thought it was going to be a lot harder, than it was. But once I actually started taking the dissection classes, the first day of class, I'm like, I'm not dissecting anything. I don't care if it's a sponge, which is an animal, or a frog, or a jellyfish, or whatever. I'm not dissecting it because I don't agree. And at first, my teacher's like, well, I don't know how this is going to work. And then I went to the department head, and basically, I stood firm. I didn't let them think that I was even considering dissection, and they let me in the class. And I don't ever have to take another class where I'll even have to decide that until I get to vet school, but I'm going to go to an animal rights-friendly vet school in Southern California where they don't do any dissection other than will donor programs. And it's definitely possible. And medical school is actually a lot easier than vet school when it comes to dissection choice policies, because mostly what they use is cadavers. I know Johns Hopkins University is really good about dissection choice when it comes to non-humans. And a really good site is the, what is it called? I don't really remember. It's like North American Anti-Vivisection or something, but it's neavs.org, and they have a really good section about careers in science and medicine, and I definitely suggest that. And I just want everybody to know, just because you're animal rights doesn't mean you can't be a vet, and doesn't mean you can't be a doctor. We love people. We love animals. We're the people who should be doing these jobs. We care about life, and we respect it.
Well said.
Yeah.
Perfect point.
Exactly. So thank you. We asked for that information because we weren't sure, and there you go. We got it.
So we also have the person who left that voicemail about Earthlings, which was referenced in this show. She left us a voicemail again about some experience she had. We will get that on the next show.
Cool.
So, cool. Much appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ashley. Now, moving on.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. It's Danny. This is the second time I recorded this message because the last one was way too long and you wanted us to cut them short. Long story short, I bought an awesome bag at an awesome store made by an awesome company 3 days ago for $115. It's made by a company called Matt and Nat. They make purses and bags and wallets and stuff that look like leather but aren't, to prove that vegan goods can still be fashionable. And on their website they went through an analysis of synthetic versus leather in terms of the environmental impact. And I bought it at a store in Washington, D.C. On U Street, which is a traditionally black neighborhood that's being really gentrified. It was a black-owned store. I'm really glad that I got to support both the company and the store. But at the same time, I'm feeling like I could have bought a bag at Target that would have been cute for about $20. I could have spent my money elsewhere. Right now, I am really conflicted about consumerism and how to spend money, and if it's better to spend a lot of money on fewer things that were made responsibly, or if I should save that money and donate it, which honestly I probably wouldn't do because I'm a college student and I'm broke. Can't afford a $100 bag anyway. But yeah, I'd really like to hear what you guys have to say about this. It was definitely triggered by the conversation about fair trade and consumerism. I'm just conflicted How should I spend my money? Okay, thank you. Bye.
Well, that's a tough question.
I think it depends in so many ways too. But go ahead.
I had a thought and now I just lost it.
Well, I have a thought.
Okay.
I mean, in general, my inclination is that when I have to buy something, even if it costs a little more, I will. And this is a privilege I have, you know. Like I don't make a horrible salary, right? So I do have some money that if I need to buy something, right, I can afford to buy something that is produced in a way that I generally find amenable. For example, if I want to buy vegan shoes, I can afford to buy a pair of vegan shoes, even if they're a little more than the leather ones, right?
Right.
I will make the decision to buy the vegan shoes because it's supporting a form of consumption that, while I'm sure it has its attendant side effects, I find those side effects to be somewhat less gruesome than the other side effects.
Right. And so I think it's important to think about the purchase that you make as much as possible. And some people go crazy with this. But if you can buy something that's not made in a sweatshop, you should do so, if you can.
Yeah.
You know? So if, like, when you're given a choice, I think you should try to make the most socially responsible choice if you have the means.
And in general, I feel like it's better to support, I just feel like in general, it's better to support smaller scale, more personalized, artisan type people when you can. To support people that are doing this out of a love of the craft or who are trying to make a go of it because they have ethical principles behind it, things like that. And I think this applies to food as well. It's like, do you support the local farmer's market where the broccoli might cost 50 cents more a pound? Or do you buy the industrialized, immigrant labor slave broccoli at the grocery store? Right? If you have a choice, if you don't have a choice, you have to buy what you have to buy if you need to eat.
Right.
But if you have a choice, it makes more sense to support the person who is local, who is trying to make a living at what they're doing, who is supporting the kind of world that you want to see. I don't like to talk about this in some ways in this sense because what it does is it reifies the notion that our society is a consumer society and that the only way to have an impact in our society is to be a consumer and the right kind of consumer.
Right.
I don't like that idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is something that's a horrible side effect of the bourgeois world in which we live is that, the way to be an activist is to consume your way to activism. And I don't really like that idea in a lot of senses, but there is a certain truth to it as well. Is that, you need to buy things to live. So when you need to buy things to live, you might as well buy the things that have the least impact, even if they cost a little more. I think that's a responsible thing to do.
And I guess the other thing to do is don't buy things you absolutely don't need.
Well, absolutely. It's like it's easy to buy things we don't need.
Right.
I'm as guilty of it as...
me too. I do it all the time.
I don't do it all the time, but,
It's easy to fall into the trap, yeah.
It is. It is easy. And because we all grow up in a society in which we have these ideas that consumption is what matters. Even a lot of us try not to be caught in that, but we still do get caught in it. So, I don't know. But that's what I think. I think in general, when you can... support local people, support the people with whom you agree ethically. I think that's the only way to go.
Right.
If you have a choice.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. It's Mickey Hunger, and I'm really excited. I'm in an airport waiting for my flight to Chicago, and I went to a magazine stand, and I got myself a Teen Vogue because I'm just that cool. It has Harry Potter on the front, and it's a Vogue, and I'm a fashion student. What do you want? But I got really excited because I was flipping through, and I turned to an article called Vegging Out, and it's titled, Vegging Out, More Teens Are Going Vegan, but Is a Plant-Only Diet Healthy? And I've been reading through it, and although I think they overemphasize the possibility to overlook certain vitamins like omega-3s and B12 and whatnot, they don't treat it like a bizarre diet. They don't treat it like it's too extreme. They actually are encouraging teenagers to go vegan. And I was really astounded. Most of the stuff that's in here isn't anything new or groundbreaking for any of us, but the simple fact that it's published in a mainstream teen magazine is pretty interesting, I think. So I thought you guys might want to know that. I don't know when the next podcast is coming out, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Have a great time, you guys. Bye.
Well, thanks for letting us know that.
Yeah, that's always cool to see a positive, veganism being portrayed in a positive light somewhere in the mainstream.
Exactly. And one of our listeners is actually writing a book about being a vegan teen.
Indeed.
Claire is working on that. And she was contacted, actually, by a website that was coming together, run by Condé Nast. I don't know if it ever got off the ground or not, but she was going to be writing stuff for that website about veganism or vegetarianism for teenage for teenage women. So, pretty cool.
Excellent.
You know, if it becomes a cool thing to do, all the better. But I hope people do it for the right reason.
Yeah, not just because it's seen as cool. Because Alicia Silverstone does it or whatever, you know.
Is she cool anymore?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Or Paris Hilton?
Like, was vegetarian for like 5 minutes?
Anyway. Okay, moving on.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. It's Nathan from Franklin, Tennessee, somewhere in the Bible Belt. I'm sorry, the first one didn't work.
This one sounds great.
I just wanted to ask. I've been a complete vegan for about 3 months, thanks in no small part to your podcast, and I'm really getting into it, but I'm slowly working on the clothes, waiting for my leather shoes to wear out, and going barefoot when I can. My question is, do you know of any companies that happen to make vegan-friendly clothes without overtly advertising them as such? The problem is my parents are cool with the diet, but for some reason they draw the line at clothes, so I'm going to have to do it on the sly. Thanks for the help. I love the podcast. Keep it coming. Bye.
Okay. I think it's easy to find vegan-friendly clothes that aren't explicitly labeled vegan-friendly, you know, like shirts and pants and things like that.
Yeah, and shoes. And when you go to a shoe store, I mean, you can find vegan shoes in a regular shoe store. You just have to look. I mean, you go and you look at the materials, and if it says all man-made materials, you're good to go.
Yeah.
And some will say, like, leather upper, leather sole. And, you know, so you can go through it on your own on the sly and look for something. You don't have to say, hey, Mom and Dad, this is a vegan shoe. If they're not cool with it, you just say, hey, I like these shoes.
That's right.
You know, or look for something like, I think one of our other callers or emailers said something about Vans. You know, go for the canvas or things like that.
And they aren't too expensive.
No.
I mean, you know, they aren't really bad. If you find them on sale and stuff, you can get those pretty cheap. So that's certainly a possibility. I think you can find those kinds of things at like Payless, and someone else mentioned Target.
Yeah.
Places like that, you can find these kinds of shoes. So I think it's possible. I mean, they're probably slave labor made, but you know, given that you're at a place where you don't have a ton of choices,
right.
You know, in your life, later on you can make these choices for yourself. But for now, if you can't, these are places where you can find those things. They may not be of the highest quality on the planet, but they may in fact be non-vegan, and perhaps that's the way you want to go with it.
Yeah, and for regular clothes, just do a lot of label reading, just like you do for food. So
yeah, you know, I don't think it's really hard actually to find vegan clothing in most places. The other thing, leather shoes. You know, if you're in a position where you have no choice, wear them out. Just wear them until they wear out. I know it feels a little morbid, you know, maybe, or it bothers you, or people may give you shit about it. But, you know, look, ultimately, if you have no choice about it and you're in a place where your parents are buying clothes for you and you don't have a lot of money on your own to use, it's like, I just think of it as wear it out. Wear it until you can't wear it anymore. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, and especially if, I mean, you're a new vegan. So, I mean, a lot of people, even if they're buying their own stuff, don't want to buy it right away. They want to wear it out. So
sure.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason also to create that extra waste and demand of buying something new when you don't have to. So I think to wear it out is fine.
There we go.
Okay, moving on.
Hey, my name is Tracy, and I am the only vegan in Brazil. And I'm just calling to say that you guys totally make my fucking day. I've got a daughter who's running around going, happy meat, and
happy meat.
So keep doing what you're doing. Love it. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tracy. Awesome.
Apparently, she wrote in an email later that was a drunken dial, but
that was drunk.
Yeah,
you didn't sound drunk at all.
No,
that was wonderful. Well, I wonder. You know, I don't think you are the only vegan in Brazil, because we have someone on our forums who's from Brazil, and someone else wrote to us from Brazil saying that I shouldn't read things because I read too fast.
Ah, wow.
So there are at least two others.
Okay.
So we need to get you three in touch with one another.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'm glad that the show helps you, and
that we're a bad influence on children everywhere.
The other thing, I mean, I would actually think that if you're shopping for yourself in South America, anywhere, it'd be pretty easy to be a vegan.
Oh yeah,
like
great produce.
When I was in South America, some of the produce I saw avocados like that were the size of like the length of my forearm and like as thick as my leg, like fucking huge avocado. Like that is an avocado. Like that big, right? Really massive avocados. Like I've seen incredible fruit and vegetables in South America and Central America. I think the problem then would be like the social interaction.
exactly.
You know, the moment you go to someone's house or you have friends, they would be like, "What?
Yep.
What?" So I don't know, but there's an abolitionist group in Argentina. We should get them on the show.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, cool. That's it for the voicemails.
267-295-1944. Write the number down on your refrigerator door. Add the 001 country code if you call us from Vienna. That's how you leave a voicemail for good old Bob and Jenna.
So there you go. Those are the voicemails. We've got more in the queue. Next week we will get to a voicemail from Amber and a couple from Rob. We've got them coming. We just, I guess this week, if this is your first time listening to Vegan Freak Radio, we don't usually do all voicemail email shows like this, but this week we had a lot of stuff to get through, so
yeah, that's what we concentrated on. So
I figured it'd be worth it to talk about all these things, and then we always love to hear from you all out there. So be in touch with us. We love to hear your articles and ideas and thoughts and suggestions for things that we should be covering. So
yes,
that's it for this week.
Thank you, everyone, once again.
Absolutely. Thanks for your patience with the show.
Yes. I don't know. That's it that I have to say. 267-295-1944.
That's right. You can call us 267-295-1944. You can you can email show@veganfreakradio.com. You can use the MyChingo on our website at veganfreakradio.com. And that's about it.
And thanks for everyone who's been voting for us at Podcast Alley out there listening. If you haven't voted yet, go vote.
Well, actually, let me say that as we come up on a new month, that's when it really counts.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be so cool for us to get in the top 10.
That would be cool. But I think we're around 20, like last I checked anyway.
It'd be cool to be in the top 10, though, because every time we get into the top 10 at Podcast Alley, we get more people listening to the show who are like contemplating vegetarianism and who become vegan. We get people to go vegan. I don't know how we do it, but we do it. You do it through your voicemails and emails. It happens. It's a magic that we create together.
Indeed.
So, go vote for us in the beginning of July. Also, some of you have emailed to ask about our forums. They open for 1 to 2 weeks at the beginning of every month for registrations. And they close again because we like to keep the community kind of tight. So if you want to get in the forums, you do it at the beginning of the month. It opens on the 1st or the 2nd of every month and closes again on the 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there. So get your butt over to the forums if you want to get on. That's when you need to do it.
Alrighty.
So anyway, thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back again next week. We really will be back again next week.
We really will.
Yeah, I think we'll be back Wednesday or Thursday with the show.
Okay, cool.
All right, so take it easy. Until then, be in touch.
Bye.
In a few moments, you can come up and pet the turkey if you want to.